Wednesday kama kawaida ni siku ya clinic na ni clinic ya mfuko. Financial clinic. So, bench tumeweka hapo nje kama kawaida, tumeisanitize na tumeipanguza vizuri. We are ready for you this month. We are focusing on passion to profit. And I have a question for you before I introduce my guest for today. What are you passionate about? What is that thing you're really, really passionate about? And maybe you're one of those people who's been able to turn your passion into a business or into something that is profitable. Let us know by sending in your comments and thoughts on 20316 for SMS, and WhatsApp is 0786 316 316. This week, or rather this morning, we get to hang out with a digital currency trader, investor, and educator. My guest today is Mimie Sigilai. Mimie, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very fine. You've got a very unique name. I've never heard of that name before, Sigilai. Does it have a meaning?
Thank you.
Does it have
Sorry?
a meaning? Does it mean anything, the Sigilai?
I don't think it does mean anything. It's just an nilotic name from the Maasai Kalenjin region. I
Okay.
guess I should investigate what it actually means, but I
Okay.
don't think it has any meaning.
Okay,
It
great.
should probably be a clan name.
Karibu sana, it's good to have you on the clinic today. Leo wewe ndio daktari.
Asante sana. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Great. Now, I know your story starts way back in campus. So let's go back to campus and how you connected with what you are doing. How did this happen?
All right, thank you so much. So pretty much I went to campus in the University of Sheffield. And of course, once you do your Form 4s and you do well, you're called to university here. So my parents decided to take me to the UK to actually pursue financial accounting,
Yeah.
which I was very passionate from high school. I was really good in business. I was really good in making good financial decisions, or actually even financial plans and strategies. I think I was gifted in knowing that this plus this makes this. You could actually multiply this and this here. And while at that, I decided to actually pursue that in campus. So in campus, I did accounting and financial management. I majored in investment banking specifically. A lot of people ask what exactly entails investment banking.
Yeah.
It pretty much entails multiplication of money, or you bringing money and then us creating wealth for you through multiple different ways. So it could be through trading it in the financial markets. It could be through investing it in things like treasury bills and bonds. It could be in investing in things like real estate, or giving projections or what this would be. But that's what pretty much I did. A lot of maths, a lot of probability, a lot of calculations. But it did pay off, or it is paying off at the moment. I really enjoyed my time there, and that is why I'm actually doing what I am doing now, educating, empowering, and reaching as many people as possible to make the right financial decisions.
Okay. So when you're in campus doing all this, did you have a dream of what you wanted to do after you were done with your education? And is it what you're doing actually right now?
Yes, I definitely had a dream of becoming like Wall Street, because that's pretty much like the icon of what we have in our market.
Yeah.
I did want to become a hedge fund manager. And when you're studying, you do need about 28 years of experience to become like a proper advanced, really big hedge fund managers, like the Wall Street type. And inevitably, yes, I am making the steps towards that. Probably less than 28 years should get me there.
Yeah.
But for sure, I am actually in the footsteps of pursuing what I actually dreamt of doing. Sometimes we dream small, and sometimes we dream big. I had the privilege of actually surrounding myself with people who made me dream big. Purely because of that dreaming big, that's why I am actually where I am at the moment. At the moment, as we speak, I do work for a hedge fund. I do work for them. I'm not yet a hedge fund manager, but I do work in-house as a relationship manager, meaning there's a couple of steps towards the direction that I had dreamt of going.
There's something you say there in passing, which I think is very important, talking about who you surround yourself with, you know, and sometimes I think we don't realize that is very important, because I've seen people who had a dream, but because they surrounded themselves with the wrong people, the naysayers, as I like calling them, they got to a place where they were convinced this dream of yours, don't even think about it. It cannot work, not in this lifetime, not even in the life to come, because the people you've surrounded yourself with are small-time thinkers. Maybe you can share something about that and why that is very, very important.
Oh, okay. For me, when it comes to the people I surround myself with, first of all, my mantra or my philosophy is everything flows from the mind. I'm a very strong believer. What you think is what actually becomes. There's nothing in life that actually has one copy. There's always two copies. The first one in your mind, and then the second one, you actually actualizing it.
Yeah.
So for me, anything that comes into my mind subconsciously or unconsciously is based on the things that I surround myself with. So I always believe in this like bonfire effect. If I stay around people who are positive, have amazing attitude, are risk loving, are optimistic, are always like take the risk and we'll see what will go ahead, as opposed to the ones who are like, no, don't do it. It will be bad. It will be hard. It's not possibly done. Purely because I'd rather regret doing it than regret not doing it. And that's very, very important for me. So for myself, I surround myself with people much older than me, younger than me, my age mates, people of like-mindedness, because I actually have to keep a sane mind when it comes towards the attitudes and the things and the words and the actions that are going into my mind. Inevitably, that is what will come out in action. So I'm very, very careful with who I surround myself with. I actually do pray every single day. I normally pray that the people and the energies that I mix with for that day are in line with the attitude and the philosophies and the things that I think about or I so strongly hold as valuable to me. So for the people that I surround myself with, I avoid as much as possible bad energy and also giving off bad energy, purely because of I understand the bonfire effect. You can actually cause a whole fire with bad energy, and you could build a whole mansion with good energy. Yes.
Have you ever had people who came alongside you and maybe they got to know a glimpse of what you're dreaming about and they told you, calm down, come back to earth, put your feet on the ground first?
Yes, you get a lot of that. I'll be honest with you, there is so many people who would tell you to actually become minute, become a less version of who you are. So many, including your family, especially, purely because they either project the fears or their own mindsets or the capacities they have of themselves on you, or alternatively, they project their own personal like they haven't achieved those things, so they feel like maybe it's not doable. But yes, I have, and the way or the solution for that has been to just always, of course, always remain a student. I learn from them why they would say that, and then also I just push through. I just keep going and continuously following my plan, following my purpose, remembering why I am actually doing this, remembering why I find it so valuable to educate and reach and empower as many Africans as possible, purely because there will be a lot of naysayers. And if I listen to them, I don't think I would be where I am today. But it's also good to listen to them because they do have something small to teach you, and then from there you pick up and continue.
Okay. So how did you get into digital currency trading? And maybe you can also tell us, when we talk about digital currency, what exactly are we talking about?
Okay, that's a question that I get a lot. So for when I finished uni, I did work for a bank. And then I came back to Kenya. I worked for an investment bank. We do have about 11 or 12, if they still exist, investment banks in Kenya, the Dan Blair type style, the SIB type. So I did work for an investment bank. And the reality was very depressing because I was working so hard, putting in crazy amounts of hours, but the amount of money I was getting out of that was not encouraging. So of course, when you're young and excited and you're looking at this is what I want to do, and the lifestyle of actually hedge fund managers and people within this space is like really big and fancy and flamboyant. And then when you're looking at your paycheck, it just wasn't matching up. So of course I had a talk with my supervisor then. She was also my teacher at college. I was doing a professional paper, my CFAs here locally. And she actually had a very lengthy discussion with me, and she was like, based on the projection of the future of finance and the future of decentralized finance, I would suggest you actually start going the digital way as opposed to us, the old school way of buying shares manually, like
Uh-huh.
Safaricom shares. You physically walk to the investment bank, buy your shares. So she is the one who actually guided me to go towards that direction. Of course, because I had the experience or the expertise from her, I now focused on it being actually a part-time or in partnership with a lot of digital asset companies. So that's pretty much how it started. It started off from a point of I was actually disgruntled with how much money I was making for the time I was putting in. So it was a case in point where I'm young, I have to make money, I have to survive, I just have to I just have to actually pay the bills. I actually have to fuel my car. I actually have to buy food. I actually have to provide for my family. So from the disgruntledness came something beautiful, which now was my personal business, which I was educating and empowering people to learn how to actually trade in the global markets, in the foreign exchange markets.
Okay. And here I was thinking that people who work in banks are happy because they're always surrounded with money.
I don't think so. Yes, there is money where the money is, I'll be honest. There's a lot of money where the money actually is, but you have to really know how to position yourself within that space. So I really thank my mentor so much for directing me towards the digital side, because we feel like this is the future, if not the current, of what a lot of people are doing. They spend a lot of time online, so we were like, why not actually learn or make money through online ways?
Very, very true. Two key things you've mentioned so far, and I'm tracking very closely. You've talked about surrounding yourself with the right people. Second thing you've said is mentors, because she pointed you in the direction to go. So my question then is, how did you begin to make that transition? Because a lot of us don't know how to deal with moments of transition. When we get to that place where we are disgruntled like you are, we are frustrated, a lot of us stay there and we become complainers. We find somebody to blame. And it's either our boss or our supervisor or this company, and we stay there. So how did you begin to make the transition?
Okay. Personally, I'll be honest, I'm not so good with transitions and change. It just brings a lot of chaos to me. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. It's just so hard to change from what you are very comfortable doing. But for as long as you know you are comfortable, you're in the wrong space, you have to be very uncomfortable and very agitated with yourself for you to feel like you're actually going in the right direction. So for me, the solution for my frustration, of course, automatically was to, apart from surround myself with the right people, was to actually have a very serious talk with myself. I come from an African setup where success is a must. We don't have an option. You actually have to become successful. I'm just not going to sit down and be sad and sulk and be upset like, oh, wow, now I don't have this. We have to always come up with solutions. So for me, the solution was to actually start my own personal business. It was scary, I'll be honest. It was extremely scary. But I think everything happens at the right time. In the fear of all the confusion of my personal business, will I make money? Will I actually empower, enrich, and educate? I got a lot of people coming up to me and asking, we see your potential, could we actually partner with you? So I have been in partnerships with existing brokers or hedge funds for the last 3 years, and I thank God so much for that. Inevitably, it's like when you prepare yourself to become a position or to become the best version of yourself, the opportunities bring themselves to you. So for me, it was a lot of personal development. I always believe that success or who you become is more important than what you get out of that. Who you become is very important. You become full of confidence, full of positive attitude, full of skills, full of good communication skills, relationship skills. It just prepares you to become the best version of what is ahead of you. So for me, my personal development, above all else, really worked for me.
Okay. So did you quit your job at the bank, or did you start to build something while you're still holding on to the job at the bank? Because I think sometimes that's where a lot of people get lost. When we talk about passion to profit, doing your thing, there are those people who just jump out and it seems like it works for them. There are others who jump out and, my friend, they hit the ground hard and they regret, why did I leave my job? So That's the transition I want to know. How did you go about that? Did you quit and start, or did you start while you're still...
For me, it's very hard for me to do two things at the same time. I know a lot of people say women know how to multitask. I'm not that woman. I just know how to do one thing at one point, unfortunately. So for me, I just had to pull myself out of that space. Then mentally, I extremely pulled out. I risked it all.
Wow.
I quit my job. I sent out my letters, and I was just like, let's do this with no single shilling in my pocket. Of course, a lot of information rather, and a lot of desire. I had the desire to actually so strongly build what I had envisioned, or so strongly financially educate and empower as many people as I could.
Yeah.
Yes, there are those people who actually jump out and really fail at it, and that is the mistake I could have made. In hindsight, that was the mistake I actually could have made. Genuinely speaking, I should have actually sat there, strategically planned out everything, but that was not the case.
Okay.
I advise anybody who's in that position and is feeling disgruntled and wants to jump out, follow your heart, follow yourself. If you have prepared yourself enough, financially, economically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you could jump out. But the safest thing to do would actually plan. Let it be your side hustle. Then once it makes more than your main hustle, you could move to the other side. But for me at that point, I just jumped out. I went all crazy. And I guess that's why I had such crazy drive to do what I was actually doing. And I thank God so much for that.
Okay. Shortly, we'll talk about what are some of the key challenges you can look back and say, I faced this and this and this, and how those challenges contribute to where you are now and what you're doing now. So we'll get into that shortly. If you have any questions for my guest today, 20316, ask the SMS line, WhatsApp number 0786316316. And you haven't answered my question. I'm asking you, what are you passionate about, and have you been able to turn your passion into profit? Let me know. I've got a message here. This one is coming in from Patrick in Westlands. You say, I'm really loving today's clinic. I just did jump out of my job this week. I'm now working on my business. Now, yes, there's a lot of challenges, but there's so much fulfillment as well. Even when this doesn't work out as planned, you still find the strength to do it. But the greatest thing is to be led by the Spirit and have hope and have faith. Patrick, thank you so much for sharing with us. So back to you, Mimie. Challenges. So here you are, you've jumped out. Did you have some money in the bank? Ama you just jumped out? Ulikuwa unakula nini?
Nilikuwa na hiyo kidogo tu. I had very little, and what I thank God so much about the space that I jumped onto, the initial cost was almost minimal. You just needed to have online presence, so you just needed to have internet, and of course people who would listen to you. So for me, initially, the setup cost was not as much. Of course, it has costed me so much more because we did open up an office in Hurlingham, and we did have chairs and all. It was a proper office. So initially, the setup cost was not the issue. The biggest challenge I would have said then was actually getting rejection. When you're pitching to somebody the idea of what you so strongly have, and they generally are not interested, and they're saying, no, I don't want to buy into your idea. I don't want to learn how to trade Forex. I don't want to buy cryptocurrency. So the biggest challenge was to deal with that rejection. And what I learned was you have to understand what you're doing cannot please everybody.
Yeah.
What you're doing cannot be for everybody's. And once you get rejection, that's how you build the thick skin to actually sell yourself even better. And once they say no, then doesn't mean it's a no forever. The people who rejected you probably in January will come to your class probably in December. So for me, the biggest challenge was rejection and also self-doubt from myself. So from the rejection, you start saying, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this isn't working the way I want it to work because I don't deserve it. Yeah. As much as I was making a lot of money then, educating people and teaching them, sometimes you feel like maybe I don't actually deserve all this money. That also was a very big challenge for me. So just accepting that you are enough, accepting that you actually deserve what you're getting, accepting that you are in the right place at the right time with the right people, connecting with the right people, empowering the right lives. that was actually one of the main challenges. Of course, now on the trading side of it, of course, the challenge was losing money in the market, because we are in a very speculative market. So that is a big challenge, losing money continuously, feeling like maybe the strategy I applied was not the right one, just still a sense of I'm really not good enough. So that was the biggest challenge. And once the people around you see that you enjoy and love and are content doing the things that you do, inevitably they actually start supporting you. So the family and friends who are a bit skeptical start asking, how can I actually get started? How can I also make money through Forex trading? How can I actually also make money through buying cryptocurrency coins? So it's a case in point where you just always view your challenges also as something beautiful, because from where I'm seated now, I do believe I will actually, or we do actually make fortunes from profits as opposed to from wages. So for me, I'm really happy because I was living wage to wage, and now it's more case in point where it's like profit to profit to profit. Yeah.
That's good. Two things. You've talked about all the challenges, losing money. So what's the most amount of money you've ever lost, if you're comfortable enough to tell us? And then when we talk about Forex and we talk about cryptocurrency, man, there are a lot of stories that fly around where this is concerned. Maybe you can tell us what are some of the common mistakes people make when they jump into your space?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a question typically, in fact, that's usually like the first question I get. How much money did you lose? Because everybody wants to imagine, will I lose the same amount of money? Cumulatively, because I have lost in between the years, probably cumulatively, probably $2,000, $3,000, $30K, that is, which I have made much, 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 much more. So for me, it's never been a case in point where I have lost, because now the losses were actually lessons, expensive lessons I had to pay. But I have actually recovered that, and I'm happy and profitable and fruitful. The other question would be, what common mistakes Forex traders make in the market? There's quite a couple, but my biggest one, including myself, I still fight with sometimes, would be risk management. Just overtaking yourselves with the emotions and taking too much risk. In short, being greedy and not being able to manage your greed. So you're making $1,000, you're making $2,000, so you change your leverage and then poof, you are out of the market. So for me, risk management is the most important thing. Another thing is having a mindset of abundance. I am so very big on the mindset. So once you come into the market with a fearful heart or a fearful mind, of course, even the decisions you're making in terms of trading would be a bit fearful. So just have a mindset of abundance that today I'm actually going to trade and actually make money. Yes.
Did you ever get to a point where you thought, maybe I need to go back to employment? Did you ever get to a place where things were so bad and you're thinking, oh my God, what have I done to myself? I need to find a job. And how did you deal with that, if you ever went through such a period?
It was actually not too long ago, some time earlier this year, I did actually sit down and be very, in the midst of all the chaos of COVID and teaching and just analyzing everything, I was like, actually, maybe for the experience that I've gotten from my business, it would be best to actually go back into employment, which I actually did. As we speak, I am in-house for VFM, which is a brokerage or a Forex trading company. But it's the structure in which it is in, it's like I work for myself, but I work for them as well. So it's more or less like a partnership, but in-house partnership. Purely because I wanted to build a skill that I felt I didn't have and I wouldn't get it by myself as a business person. And I thank God so much for that opportunity. VFM has actually taught me how to talk to people, how to, because I am in charge of relationship management there, how to talk to the asset managers, and I have access to thousands of beautiful asset managers. So for me, I just feel like going back a step in partnership with a company, not fully like employed for them, but earning something almost like a guarantee or a certainty from them has actually made me realize that you can actually have everything. You can have employment, you can have partnership, you can have business, all running at the same time, because the reality of the new normal, you have to have multiple streams of income regardless. You have to know how to like just try your very best to survive. And for me, I'm surviving still within my ecosystem. I'm still within forex trading, I'm still within cryptocurrency, I'm still within asset management or hedge funds, because I'm very clear with my purpose, of which is to become a hedge fund manager. If not, then own a hedge fund.
Okay. How did COVID affect your space?
COVID, of course, affected my space. The niche that I had within this trading community was I physically had physical classes. So within this region, people prefer coming in for physical classes. And of course, with COVID, we had no physical contact, no physical presence. Unfortunately, as much as we are purely online space, when we're doing our digital assets and our digital trading, a lot of people want to actually learn physically. So of course, that did affect my business. Also, the uncertainty of what COVID brought, the pay cuts, people losing their jobs left, right, and center. I did come up with a free class, which for me, initially, it was very draining, because there's lots of people online wanting to learn, but also you are actually not really earning from it. So it's a lot of your time, a lot of your money being pumped into things for free. I was content in my heart doing it, but of course, financially and economically, it wasn't possible to keep going month on month for free classes, because I mean, I have to eat, I have to feed my family, I have to survive. So COVID did affect our business, and actually even our market. It became very volatile, very choppy. And it was hard to go in and come out. You'd buy oil and the prices of oil go down. You'd sell something and the prices just spike up. So for us, it was just a case in point where you actually have to sit, re-strategize, and realize, okay, fine, I'm no longer going to be holding long-term positions. I'm having to have short-term positions. And we are conforming to the markets, the new markets that have come up based on COVID.
Okay. Shortly, we'll talk about, you've mentioned your classes, suffered. We'll talk about that whole aspect of classes. I've seen quite a number of people trying to do classes here and there. And I think for many of us, we don't realize that that is actually one area we can actually make money, because we have knowledge that we can transfer to others. So we'll talk about how you are able to set up those. If you have any questions for my guest this morning, 20316 SMS line, WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. Several people sharing their journeys as well with me of how they quit their job to do their thing. I'll read some of those text messages in the coming short while. Collins from Ruiru, you say you left your work in 2020 March, 4 days before the lockdown, and you say it was scary, but you've managed. You say you left your work as a banker to pursue online work. Currently, you are looking into forex trading, and so today's show is on point for you. Thank you very much. And you say, one more thing, when I quit my job, I was single. The responsibilities were lesser. Good for you. So sasa umeoa ama bado uko single, my friend? Hebu tuambie, tunataka kujua. Lydia, you say you did CPA. You discovered it wasn't your thing. You passed your exams, but you felt like you were just reading to pass exams. Went on to start a makeup hustle. God led you in a totally different direction. And you now discover that your passion is in talking and leading. And you're setting up a YouTube channel and you're building that pole. Very, very good. Hi, James. Very informative show. I have that desire to join forex trading. James from Gatanga. James, yes, put that desire into action. Do something with that desire. Back to our guest today, Mimie. Even as we continue talking to us about your journey, the whole aspect of classes, getting people to come for a class is hard. I'm just wondering how you are able to do that, because I've had friends who want to teach people about how to discover your purpose or just various things, people, leadership, what. And sometimes getting people to come and to commit, because these classes are not cheap. It's not like it's 2,000 bob or 1,000 bob. So how did you convince people, and how many students did you get for your first class?
That's a very good question. Actually, for the people who want to come for the classes, they actually already have the desire. They have the questions on how do I get started? How do I get there? How do I pay? Because they really want to really learn how to trade. So for me, the first class was very small. Of course, it was close friends initially. And the first class was built from a bigger class. I was doing it free of charge to bigger numbers. Then I realized the structure wasn't working, because when something is actually not paid for, there's no commitment to actually follow through the coursework or follow through the timelines. So I actually sat down, created a content plan or coursework, and scheduled a class that would run for a month and a half, and this would be the timings at this location. So it was very structured, but clearly it was birthed from doing it free of charge. Inevitably, once you do it for free and once you do it with a lot of people, is when you realize, actually, oh wow, I'm actually helping people make money, and I'm actually not charging for this. If it was structured, it would be better, the outcome would be better, and I'd also still make something out of it from my time. So the first class just led to the next class and the next class, because I normally say my students are my walking CVs. They're the ones who put me out there. If they trade and they're making money, automatically it's just genetic that it will keep growing. So the highest class I ever got during my 2018, 19 classes was probably a class of 20. Yes, a class of 20 in one sitting.
Yeah.
Of course, initially it was very little. It was like 2-3 people. Sometimes there'd be 12, sometimes there'd be 7. Yeah. But what I know is that inevitably, once you have it structured, it's so easy to sell yourself out there if you do a good job. Just do what is right, teach them. Once they are happy and content, they'll always keep referring their friends, their family, anybody else would be interested. For me also, why education was really because I felt like there was a very high rate of unemployment in this country. And there's people online, a lot of people online, who would actually use this time online to actually make money. Just to push their minds off from like social media or like things that are not giving them value to things that you can actually finesse this skill, do it part-time, trade for 2 hours, get out if that's who you are. You could actually say, okay, fine, I actually want to do this full-time, I don't have a job, and I want to be as many hours in the markets as possible. So those were my whys. I was really passionate in solving that unemployment issue and also giving the right information. The right information is the most important thing.
Okay. Did you ever get to a season where you felt like, am I actually qualified to be teaching people and asking them for money? Because that's another thing I find sometimes people who start doing classes for particular things, because we are so used to the conventional school. You are in this college, or you are in this school. Ati unafanya classes wapi? Nani anawafundisha? So did you ever go through a phase where you felt, okay, am I qualified enough to do this?
Every single day, I'll tell you the truth. Every single day, you would be like, you're teaching people who are, first of all, much older than you, second of all, much wealthier than you.
Yes.
So you always feel like, gosh, am I actually doing the right thing? So inevitably would be the response to that, and how I would always console myself is that they would give me the feedback and be like, Mimie, you're so good, you're so patient, I've learned so much, I've made so much money. So the feedback of what they gave me would like reaffirm that I'm doing the right thing. But every single day I'd actually be like, am I actually doing the right thing? I'm actually in the right space? Am I actually delivering what they're paying for? Because when somebody puts their money to you or invests in the money on your time, you actually feel like you have to over deliver. But for sure, the reassurance was, all my students would be like, Mimie, you're doing an amazing job. Thank you, teacher, for today's classes. I've learned so much. I didn't know this, now I know that. So it really kept reaffirming that what I'm doing is the right thing, or I'm in the right space. But for sure, I did feel like that almost every single day.
Wow. As we conclude, Mimie, what would you tell that individual who has this thing, you know, that's boiling up on the inside of them? They know they need to do something about it, but they're so afraid to jump out and actually begin to do something about it. Fear has overwhelmed them. You know, they have two pains, the pain of this thing calling out and the pain of fear holding them back. What would you tell them to do?
It's a simple equation of desire multiplied by actions, in brackets, to the power of faith. So you just have to have your strong desire within you, put it into action, and always have faith, because faith, like, you cannot calculate how far faith can take you.
Yeah.
So for sure, keep going. Just keep going. Never give up. Just keep rolling. Do exactly what you are scared of doing. You never know what it could be on the other side. Human minds are tailor-made to always think of, oh, maybe it would be this bad. How about think of how good it would be as well?
Yeah.
So just have the faith that it would be amazing. Of course, pray towards it. Spiritually align yourself for the blessings that you're asking for, physically, economically, financially, paper-wise. Just align yourself, do your work, do the inside job. Everything else would follow, especially actions, desire, in brackets, to the infinity of faith.
Okay.
For sure.
Finally, Mimie, when you're not doing digital currency, when you're not investing, when you're not educating people, what do you like doing?
What do I like doing?
Yeah.
Inevitably because of teaching. By the way, we do have an online page on Instagram called NSFX, Nairobi School of Forex Trading. Those are online classes. So when I'm not doing that or creating content for that, of course, I'm having fun with my family. I come from a super amazing family. We love hiking, baking, bonding, chatting, talking to each other, fine dining. We just like all sorts of fun things. So a lot of my time is spent either with my family or my close friends.
Okay.
Yes, when I'm not doing that. Yes. So I enjoy, what else do I enjoy doing? I enjoy being in touch with nature, being outdoors, talking to people as well. I love talking to people. And I love listening to people as well. Great. So if not that, it's pretty much that. If it's not family and friends, it's indoors, enjoying with my family, with my son, my super amazing 5-year-old, just mothering him and enjoying being a mom to him.
Awesome. My time is up. Asante sana. Are you on social media? Can people find you on social media?
Yes, I am Mimie Chemutai on all my social medias. Oh, by the way, I've been told Sigilai actually means tall. So my father's family was from a very tall family. So I am Mimie Chemutai Sigilai on all social medias. I do work for VFM as well, Venture Financial Markets. So you could just type that in. INSFX is the brand for when it comes to the online classes, Nairobi School of Forex Trading. Yes, but that's who we are.
Great. Mimie, asante sana for your time this morning, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you too for having us. In case anybody is interested, they feel free to contact me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Mimie Chemutai.
Awesome. Aya, kliniki ya leo tumefunga. Daktari ameenda mahali pengine. She has other people she needs to attend to this morning, so the clinic is closed until next week. I hope you've learned something today. That thing that's calling from the inside of you, don't ignore it. Pursue it. Do something about it. Begin today. Until next week for another episode of the Financial Clinic, have yourselves a great day.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.